credit cards, student loans, car payments, mortgage. How do we go about paying the debts?
Get a full-time job. Maybe you need 2 jobs to get rid of the debt. You got to stop the impulse buying. It's just a matter that people haven't been taught. And I'm here to help. I'm here to teach women. You don't learn your budget overnight. It's a step-by-step process. Get on the budget every single month. Be consistent. Consistency is key.
If it's not measured, it's not managed.
There's a challenge with needs and wants. Want is basic necessities: food on the table, a roof over your head, clothes that don't have holes in them.
Do you buy brand new cars or used cars?
I bought one new car in my whole life, and that was in 1993.
You focus mainly on mid-career women. Why did you select that particular group?
I think the main reason is because I was one of these women.
You were in debt in your 50s. I mean, in your 50s, you're almost retiring. How did you get out of debt?
Baby step number 1 is $1,000 in the emergency fund. Baby step 2.
Peggy McInnes, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
So you are a personal finance and money management coach.
Yes.
And you focus mainly on mid-career women. So before getting into how do you help women get out of debt and achieve financial freedom, I'm curious to know, why did you select that particular group?
I think the main reason is because I was one of these women. 20 years ago, I was struggling. I didn't have any savings for my retirement. I was still trying to raise kids.
So you were someone who is feeling the pain. You weren't saving any money.
Right.
And you were an accountant at the time?
Correct. I've spent 50 years of my career in accounting. And you would think that because you're in accounting, you're thinking about your own finances, but you're not. You're thinking about work. I think one of the main reasons where I thought about going into coaching is because I started in the last few years of my career, my accounting career, I was spending time teaching business owners how to do their books. What's the daily things that they had to do, daily, monthly, yearly, payroll, the financial books, taxes, prepping for taxes. And I found I enjoyed spending more time teaching than the actual work.
And that what led you into becoming a coach. But making a career change like that take a lot of courage. What was the catalyst? What was the thing that say, okay, I'm done. There's no more accounting. I'm switching my career. I'm starting new in that new career.
Part of the reason is because I had to retire a little bit early to take care of my mom. And about a year before, 2 years before I had to retire early, I went to a Dave Ramsey course, and I helped myself get out of debt, and I helped my mother get out of debt, and I had no idea that these programs existed, but I took advantage of it, and I had to take over my mom's business, my mother's finances, because she started having health issues. So Dave Ramsey and his program, the Financial Peace University course, I took it 10 years ago, and I've been teaching family how to do a budget ever since.
And by the way, your budget is absolutely incredible. Like, I've been using it. Awesome. And for the people, watching or listening to us, they can go to coachpeggy.life.
Correct.
And download your template, your budget template. So what's in that template? Why it's so special? How did you get to develop it?
Well, Dave Ramsey has an app now called Every Dollar. But he didn't have this app 10 years ago, almost 11 years ago in February. So I just, because I was in accounting, I created an Excel spreadsheet because I lived my life in Excel because of my job. So I created an Excel budget spreadsheet, and he teaches different types of percentages that should be used in planning your budget. And so I put some formulas in and created a budget for myself and started tracking my own budget. And it helped me get on track of where I was at with my finances.
Right. So you used that budget, the same budget now that you basically recommend to your clients.
Correct.
So you used it yourself. You built it yourself. You used it yourself. And to be honest, the reason why I find it very powerful is that I've used so many fancy apps to track my spending before. And for some reason, all of these fancy apps tend to automate the process. They link with your bank account and they try to like give you all of that fancy stuff. But I feel like the more we automate things, the less we feel where the money is going. So I really like, after using for the last month or so, I really like the fact that every day I'm inputting myself in a simple Excel sheet. Who doesn't know how to use Excel? So Excel is a very popular software. And once you get the habit of putting it in every day, it becomes very natural and very easy to use. So I find it incredibly useful. And
That's great.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it to others. I just want to circle back on your client or your ideal customer profile or client profile and your focus on mid-career women. A lot of people think that there's no way out. They feel helpless. So what would you tell those women who are struggling in debt right now?
I think the best way to get a handle on your budget is to go through your bank statement and your credit card statement every single month. You don't have to do it daily, but some people may. But if you go through your budget every single month, you pull your bank statement from the bank, pull your credit card statements, and start logging in all your expenses. It's like, oh gosh, why did I do that? Like going to buy a coffee. It can be so expensive if you do it every day. It's crazy. So my focus, because I was a woman in debt, and I was a single mom for many, many years, and I see many women out there struggling, and they don't feel like they've got help. But I'm here to help. I wanted to let them know that I'm here to encourage you. I'm here to hold your hand. I'll be your cheerleader all along the way. And you don't learn your budget overnight. It's a step-by-step process.
Let me go back to your personal experience when you were in debt in your 50s. I mean, in your 50s, you're almost retiring. How did you get out of debt? And how did you help your mom get out of debt too?
Well, for myself, I just started looking at my expenses. It's like, well, I don't need this. I don't need that. Just start looking through what you're buying and then make more educated purchases. Target's a big place. Target's got a lot of great things. They have a lot of items at the end of the rack, at the cash register. It's like, oh, the impulse buying. So you got to stop the impulse buying. You need to have a list when you go to the store. It's like I was at the grocery store just the other day, and this poor woman, she probably was in her 40s, and talking, oh, what am I going to feed my kids for dinner tonight? It's like, well, don't you have a list? And she goes, no. And I go, you need to have a list. That helps you stop the impulse buying. For myself, I had to stop my impulse buying. I wasn't that bad at impulse buying, but I know that can be a big problem. Fortunately, I didn't have a ton of debt, but I did have some debt. I had a student loan, and I just started focusing on moving the money from, not going out to dinner, not going for sushi, God forbid, Not going out to dinner, and just move that money, because that could be $100 if I took my kids and put that money towards paying off the debt. And slowly but surely, I was able to get it all paid. As for my mom, she had a different kind of challenge in that she was supporting my younger sister and 4 children. Her income was from a business that my father had created. And that business, it was a shopping center. So she had 50% less occupancy. So that means 50% less money coming in. And that created a big problem for her. She started living on her credit cards. And so for my mother, I was able to, this is not something I will do for clients, because clients need to do it for themselves, but my mother was 85. So I started contacting the credit card companies and asking them, what could I do? What kind of deal could I negotiate so she would have less? And people can do that. Call up, if you've got cash, call the credit card company and make a deal. If you've got cash, say, I'm going to pay you $1,000, but it only works if you have cash to pay right then and there. My mom, the shopping center got sold, so my mom had some money. I was able to work with the companies. And then I put her on her budget. I says, okay, you don't need the newspaper coming to the house every week. You don't need Netflix. You don't need all these different types of utilities. People get into trouble when they've got cable bills that could be $400 a month. People say they need it. They don't. They don't need a $400 cable bill. Maybe they like watching sports, but get Roku or some of the other cheaper apps.
And I think you mentioned the difference between a need and a want.
Absolutely.
So could you talk more about that?
There's a challenge with needs and wants. A kid will say, Mom, I need this, like a game. They don't need it. They just want it because their friend has it. A want is basic necessities: food on the table, a roof over your head, clothes that don't have holes in them, and utilities, and a car that can get you to work and back. Those are needs. They're not wants. Wants are extracurricular activities, getting a coffee at the coffee shop. So wants are, you don't need a candy bar at the grocery store when the kid's nagging at you.
So what you're saying is that before making any purchase decision, we have to make a decision. Do I need this or do I want this? And in our head, it has to be crystal clear. A need are basic necessities. We're talking roof over our shoulders. We're talking food and clothing, right? But then clothing could get into a want as well. Like, I want this fancy dress and that suit. And, it can always go and justify to yourself, like, oh, this is a need. Mm-hmm. How do you make that distinction?
Do you have holes in your socks? Do you have holes in your underwear? Those are needs. Does your shirt have a hole in it? If it's the fashion trend for this week, no, you don't need it. You just basic pants, shorts, jacket, keep you warm if it's cold. You don't need the high-end shoes and jackets and clothing. It's not necessary.
I have a lot of friends and family who they were good when it comes to money at some point in their lives. Mm-hmm. And I can think of one person in my head right now as I'm asking you this question. And, we used to have conversations, and I always admired their financial literacy and thoughtfulness. However, a certain life event happened in their lives. They lost their job. They spent like 2-3 months looking for a job. They ran out basically of savings. They start using their credit card. They had to move from one state to another. So they had to, bulk more and more expenses. And when they finally got their job back or got a job, and although it's a good job, they are when I asked them recently, why aren't you paying your debt? Why aren't you paying your credit card? They say, oh, I'm trying to keep some cash in reserve before going after my debt. And now they receive an income, and then most of this income goes to satisfy all the credit cards. But then, whatever little savings they have, they're still keeping it in cash in their bank account. What would you say to people like that?
Well, Dave Ramsey has some rules. Baby step one is number one. Baby step number one is to have $1,000 in an emergency fund. Once you get the emergency fund taken care of, then you start paying off your debt. Once you get the debt paid off, then you focus on getting 3 to 6 months of household expenses set aside in the bank account, your savings, just in case of an emergency, you lose your job. If you have family, a spouse, children, then you'll need more money. If they talk about 18 to 24 months of savings. And, it can be in a money market account like Ally Bank, where you can get some interest on it. So there's ways to get the debt paid. It's just, you've got to focus on it. And that's the biggest problem. People haven't focused on it. A client I've got right now, has debt. She has a good income. She never focused on the debt. It's like, how do I get out of this? And so I gave her, I suggest a plan. I asked them what their goals are. What do they want? That's what I work. When I work with clients and they have lots of debt, it's like, okay, how much do you make? Let's start looking at your budget. Where do you put your money? Start focusing on getting the money set aside for savings. Start putting money away, getting that debt paid off. It's not going to take, sometimes it takes 2 years to get it paid off. It doesn't happen overnight. Getting the budget under control takes 3 to 6 months, and that's focused effort.
So we're recording this in January 2025. So this is the beginning of the year. A lot of people out there are putting in their goals and their New Year's resolutions and whatnot. So the first thing you ask people watching us or listening to us is to start with a budget, right?
Absolutely.
And then after that, and then after that, save $1,000 in cash. And then after that, save up to 6 months of your monthly expenses. Is that right?
No, it's like baby step number one is $1,000 in the emergency fund. Baby step two is pay off your debt. Baby step three is 3 to 6 months of household expenses saved. Then baby step four, that's the debt's already paid. So now you can start working on putting money, setting aside 15% a month towards retirement. That's only the first 4 steps.
Awesome. Yeah. But paying up debts.
It takes a couple years if you have a lot of debt. Some people have $40,000 in debt. Some people have a couple $1,000. There's another person, 1.2 million in debt.
Wow.
So it takes time, and we have to get creative sometimes. Like maybe you need a roommate, get a full-time job. Maybe you need 2 jobs to get rid of the debt. Do you have a garage full of treasures that are collecting dust? It's like, get rid of this stuff. You can sell it. You can donate it. I guess there's apps to sell things in your neighborhood. So there's ways to get rid of the stuff. And you can go online and find charitable organizations where you can write off the donation and get tax write-offs.
And let's say someone has credit cards, student loans, car payments, mortgage, all sorts of different types of debts. How would you start organizing and paying the debts? Do we start with the largest amount? How do we go about paying the debts?
Okay. We'll start with the smallest, because then you get a win. You pay off the smallest credit card debt first. Then you feel like you get some traction. And so whatever money was going to that credit card can now go to the next one. You start with the smallest, build up to the biggest. If you've got a big car payment, $700, which is ridiculous, but people do it. $700 car payment, get rid of the car if you can and get a smaller car, a less expensive car. Toyotas and Hondas, Corollas and Civics last forever, and they're very reliable cars. Get something you can afford. Save up $2,000 in your emergency fund so you can sell off the big car payment and get a smaller car payment or pay cash.
I have a Nissan. This is good.
Well,
it's still cheap and
it's cheaper than a Toyota 4Runner, which I wanted to buy. However, it cost $40,000 when I was looking for a new car. So I got a Hyundai for $21,000.
Right. So we're not making any promotion for any cars.
No,
here.
We're not. We're not. But, we want a reliable car.
We want a reliable car that is not, you're not paying for the brand.
Right.
Basically.
Don't pay for the brand.
Yeah.
Just find something that can get you from point A to point B, to get to work, to get the kids from school, what have you. Get the groceries.
Just to push on the cars here. Do you buy brand new cars or used cars?
There's a lot of opinions on that. I've bought one new car in my whole life, and that was in 1993. My cars are used. I usually get a car that's only a couple years old with low mileage. It's less expensive because a brand new car, as soon as it goes off the lot, it's going to depreciate significantly. So it's always better to get a less expensive car. Used cars are cheaper, at least they were, but the economy has been so funny lately in the last couple of years with cars, especially used cars. But I would go for a used car, low mileage that you can use for several years. My track record with cars, I usually have them for about 12 years. I put about 100,000, 150,000 miles on them.
That's wonderful. Okay, so to summarize, because this is very important, right? If you are mid-career woman or anybody really, you have a job, you have a lot of debt. You will list down all your debts from the smallest amount to the largest. Does this include the mortgage or no?
The mortgage is last.
Okay.
That's baby step number 6.
Right. So there's baby steps.
There's baby steps. So when I go through the process with people, I walk them through the process. Some steps take a month. Some steps take 3 months. It depends on the person. And it depends on how much income they have. It depends on how motivated they are. So basically just trying to get them to see that they can do it. They just have to focus and stay consistent. Pay the debts off. Got to take your time. Got to stay on the budget. And, the debts can take several months. But once you get all the debts paid off and start saving money for retirement, then you can start paying the house off and then have no debt. So all the money is yours and you can have a fuller, more comfortable retirement. Give wealth away, donate money.
I think the matter or the issue with money is kind of similar to the issue of weight loss and all other. It's a more complex one. It's because there's psychology involved in it. There's our mental model. How do we view the world, etc. Because I think the beauty of Dave Ramsey's baby steps is that the first step, which is put $1,000, gives you some peace of mind. Right. The second step is to list your debts from smallest to biggest. And then once you start attacking that small one, as soon as you tick it off, you feel energized. You feel a sense of momentum. Okay, we're doing this. There's some sort of a feel of, okay, we got this, like this. But if you start paying debt from the biggest, you feel like you are drowning. You're paying and paying and paying, and you're not achieving anything.
You're just treading water still.
Exactly. But with the smallest, you start attacking the small. You pay the minimal dues, and then if you can spare some more money, you put more money in the smallest one. Mm-hmm.
Correct. Part of the problem is people aren't taught finances in many cases. It wasn't taught in my home growing up. It wasn't taught. It's not taught in schools. I just know that when my dad was in real estate, commercial real estate, started in residential. When the cupboards were bare, we were waiting for commission checks to come in to get the groceries. When the pantry was full, we knew my dad got a commission check. So it's really a challenge for people that haven't been taught. And that's why I think Dave Ramsey's been so successful. And there's multitude of different money gurus out there. Susie Orman is one of them that I heard about lately. But there's multiple people out there. It's just a matter that people haven't been taught. And I'm here to help. And I'm here to teach women that they can overcome the situation that they're in and give them peace. I have a client that told me the other day that she feels hopeful now. And so that's my goal.
That's very powerful. And I feel like, a lot of people sometimes may be afraid of, if I engage you, Peggy, Coach Peggy, if I engage you, oh, you're going to downgrade my lifestyle. You're going to ruin my life. I enjoy my car. You want me to sell it. I enjoy my Starbucks. You want me to cut down on that. It's kind of like people will feel, oh, it's another chore. How would you battle that resistance when people are like, oh, I'm afraid to hire a coach because they're going to cut down my lifestyle?
Well, obviously they're living above their lifestyle as it is. So I try to help.
Above their means.
Above their means. They're living above their means, and that's what's putting them into debt. I try to be encouraging. I don't want to beat anybody down. That's not my way. But I try to encourage them to say, if you take these steps, later on you can have that coffee. Later on you can have a nice car when you can pay cash for it.
It's like delayed gratification.
It's delaying your gratification. You don't need to keep up with the Joneses. That's been something that's been going on for centuries. It doesn't need to happen.
Right. So what do they expect when working with you?
Depends on the people. So when I start working with someone, first thing I do is a 30-minute free consultation. Once we go through the consultation, I find out a little bit more about them and if we want to work together and if they want to hire me, because it takes money, but I will help them find money to pay me. Like cut down on Starbucks, cut down on coffee shop stops, cut down on going out to eat, cut down on getting your nails done. That's $50 every 3 weeks. I used to do it. It's like there's things you can cut out so that you can pay your bills. And then later on, delay the gratification now. And later on, after everything's paid off, I show them that there's hope.
And that's the power, is that because you're a woman, because you've passed through the issues that your clients are passing through, now you know more how to address them. Because I think if you were, like, for example, a male, you wouldn't be able to really capture the problems and the aspirations of women, because we live completely separate lifestyles. We have different aspirations, different worries and fears. And so being a woman yourself, having lived through the problems that your clients live through, puts you in a good position to really address those fears and emotional issues that are relevant to money management. Can you talk more about that?
The reason why I focus on helping women is, like you said, because I've been through it. I've been a single mom a good part of my life. I couldn't depend on, I didn't get child support. A lot of women don't get child support. So I can help them. It's like, instead of wishing, oh, I wish I had this, I wish I got this, I wish I could get money from my ex, just forget about it. Just focus on what you can control. And what you can control is what you're bringing in, what you're spending. That's what you can control. You focus on what you can control. And then so my part is I help them realize that once you start focusing on what you can control, then you can start making steps towards progress and getting out of debt and getting a retirement account set up.
Doesn't that feel great?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I feel the moment I got debt free, it's just a moment of liberation. Like you feel you're a new person, because as soon as you have debt, someone is kind of holding a knife on your neck.
Right.
And once that is done, you feel like you are brand new.
Yeah. You're in control of your life.
Yes.
Again.
Yes.
Just keep it that way.
But for many people, it's a very far-fetched dream. Yeah. They feel like, oh, the whole system is like that. We have to buy a house. We have to, and talking about houses, no house is affordable right now for anybody to buy. So a lot of people have a lot of excuses. A lot of them are legitimate, but a lot of them are also not legitimate. So can you talk more about the excuses we give ourselves?
I think it's an easy cop out. If you have an excuse, it's then, well, I can't do this because I can't do that because. Instead of letting the because and the excuses choke you, take a stand, make a choice. You can make a choice to get out of debt. You can make a choice to make good decisions. A lot of people are afraid, and I understand that. I totally understand it. I've been there. So it's just like I tell people, it's like just one step at a time. Baby steps, one step at a time. Take care of the debt, get the emergency fund set aside, start working on the debt. And, maybe you have a little reward for yourself, but not like $100 dinner or getting your nails done every week. You've got to do little incremental changes just so that you can get through to the next step.
That's wonderful. And I'm also thinking about the rebuttals. Okay, why hiring a coach? If I can, probably look online on how 10 tips to save money and to get out of debt. What is the advantage of hiring a coach?
There are multiple articles online. But do you follow them? If you hire a coach, you hire me, I keep you accountable. You have to be accountable to someone. Maybe you have a family member or brother, sister, or good friend, if they can hold you accountable to making good choices, to get out of debt, to get your budget in line, great. But a lot of people don't have somebody that will hold them accountable. I will hold you accountable.
Absolutely. It's like personal trainer in a gym.
Right.
Like you can go to the gym and hang out and you spend your money paying the gym for no results really. But then if you go and hire a personal trainer, whenever you feel lazy, they're going to be calling you like, hey, where are you? I'm waiting for you in the gym. Let's go, And this is very important. And I think the same with money, I'm assuming like your monthly meetings with them, although I don't know if it's only monthly meetings or you meet bi-weekly or what are the different packages that you have?
Okay. I have some people I meet with monthly. Some people I meet every other week. It depends on their needs. Some people are stronger than others. Some people need their hand held. So I understand that. And so, I start off offering 2 meetings a month. And if they don't feel they need that, then we'll go to monthly meeting. But a lot of times when people are just getting started, they just need somebody there. It's like to ask questions, just to make, am I doing the right thing? I wanted to do this, but I'm thinking about doing that. It's like just somebody to talk to. Whereas if you don't have a coach, you don't have that person to talk to, unless you've got a great support person in your back pocket, which is nice, but a lot of people don't. So, I try to I ask questions so that I can find out what they're comfortable with.
Yeah, and I feel another major, or let me say this differently. So I hear what you're saying. I think it's amazing what you're doing, and I think a lot of women out there listening to this will be like, okay, I'm all sold on the idea. I need to get it on budget. I need to start battling my debt. I need to start having more emergency funds, and I need a coach because I need someone to keep me accountable and all of that. But if someone is already having debt, the idea of hiring a coach and paying extra money sounds a little bit more daunting to them. Oh, this is another bill that I have to pay. First of all, what is the pricing? If you don't mind talking about it on cam, what is your pricing structure, and how do you justify them having that additional bill?
Okay. The first thing I do is find out how much they make. I base my fee schedule. It's income based. I have some women that are on disability. I've got women that are on Social Security. They don't make very much money. And so I base my fee on what their income is. The next step is I find out what their expenses are. Where can we cut your expenses? Where are you spending money that you don't need to spend it? Start looking at, I've got a lot of recipes. If people need help with grocery bills, I can help them with that even. So I go through with a fine tooth comb in their budget saying, okay, what is this bill? Some people have so many subscriptions and memberships that they don't even use, that they can cut out of their budget. One woman had $400 she was able to get rid of in subscriptions that she wasn't using. That paid for the bill, paid for my monthly fee for her based on her income.
That's wonderful. Like, you basically can, as soon as you get them to sit on Zoom or in person, I'm not sure, how do you conduct it?
Usually Zoom calls.
Yeah. So let's say you get them to sit, that monthly meeting is amazingly valuable because you will find gaps in their finances that not only pay for your coaching fees, but also will save them a lot of money. So basically it pays for itself.
It does. And that's the beauty of it. I help them figure it out. It's like, where's your budget? What's your budget look like? And then I help them figure it out.
Yeah, I have my monthly meeting with my accountant, and I find it incredibly valuable. It gives me brand new energy to tackle my business. I started my business 2 years ago, and for the very long time, I never had any accountant on board. And as soon as I had an accountant on board, I felt my business start to take off. Mm-hmm. Just because that you said accountability, where your money is going, mm-hmm. That clarity that you can see the numbers month by month. Right. And the same goes for personal finances. It's the same thing. As soon they say, if it's not measured, it's not managed.
Right.
So I think that's a good quote there. It's like if you're not seeing it, kind of like if there's another example, I don't know if you use it in your coaching, but there's an example because I used to play basketball. So they say if you're not keeping score, you tend to play lousy. So when you start keeping score, you start playing
You have
serious.
improvements.
So
You're aware.
Yeah. The question is, how do you combat I'm feeling bad and I want to celebrate. I want to please myself. I want to make myself feel good. And usually that is either ordering food or going out or going, how do you manage this? Should they call you? Like, let's say you have a client, should they call you when they feel bad, or like, how does it work?
I have left it open for people to send me a text. I may not be able to get to it right away, but I haven't had it happen where someone's called me or texted me saying, "Oh, I feel awful." But I also suggest in my coaching meditation, prayer. I'm sorry, I'm spiritual.
For sure.
Who I am. So meditation, prayer, yoga, go for a walk. Many of my clients are on the East Coast, which is really kind of crazy, but it's worked out that way. You can go for a walk in the snow too. Put your boots on, put your parka on, and go for a walk. Listen to the birds. It'll clear your head.
I think we're too pampered here in California.
Yeah.
I have a friend in Canada, and for me, as soon as the weather starts to get cold, we stop going for walks. Yeah. And he has a bunch of snow, and then he's going on a daily walk. Nonetheless,
put on your Sorels and go.
He said layers. Just put on the layers.
Layers is absolutely it.
Peggy, it's been a pleasure. My last question is that if you want to send one message to the people out there about money, what would that be?
Get on a budget. And you get on the budget and do it every single month. Be consistent. Consistency is key. That's what's going to get you free. So consistency is so important with the budget.
Awesome. And how can they get hold of you?
Either go to coachpeggy.life or Peggy at McInnesCoachingSolutions.com, which is way too long.
We're going to put these links in the description of that video. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Naja. It's been a pleasure.